Hey, what's going on, my friends? This is Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. Now, this morning we have a returning guest, somebody who we've actually had on the show once or twice. Um, we have a mastermind coming up this week, which is like something that I'm really excited about. We actually I'm really excited about this one because we've got returning guests who were literally guests at the last mastermind, who are now speaking at this mastermind. And that last mastermind was just, a few months ago. I can't, the months are running together for me, but whenever the last one was, I think it was in the beginning of December 2021. Here we are. Matt says, yes, here we are. Where are we? We're May. So what, 5 months into this? I mean, we're talking about 6 months ago was the last mastermind. It took me like 5 minutes to do that math, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty exciting. That's a pretty cool thing. So, when everybody's listening to these every day and you're wondering, where is this going? And of course you hear from guests, every morning, but also know that there's people who are coming to masterminds. There's all kinds of ways that you can engage and grow, whether you're going through the challenge right now, whether you're, wanting more accountability and wanting to get more serious. So you've gone with the blueprint program. Maybe you've even said, hey, I want to put myself in the environment. I want to meet people. I want to network. I want to just be there in person, because there's a different level of learning that happens in person. You can see people. For some reason, it becomes more real. And also you get to see that other folks are really actually just human beings, just like you. They actually put their pants on the same exact way. And a lot of times you walk away from those situations really with a lot of confidence that you didn't have before, because now you're like, wow, there really is no difference. Like everything is all in my head. It's just about what I believe is possible. It's just about what I believe is possible. And I'm only going to grow. I'm only going to earn. I'm only going to achieve what I believe I can do. If I don't believe I can do it, I'm usually not even going to give it an effort. I'm not even going to try because I'm scared, So there's a unique takeaway from live events where you get to meet somebody and just really sit down, and humanize this whole process, instead of, it being this far away thing with these people on video that look, sometimes we idolize people when we see them on video. And then when we meet them in person, we're like, wow, this person's a real human being. So in other news, this weekend, let's see here if I can actually share this. We'll see. In other news this weekend, my son got my youngest got his first haircut, and there he is. He's doing his thing. He's taken after, I think, my dad on the mechanical side of things there. Maybe he's going to get into some plumbing or something like that. Who knows? If he wants to, he's got a pop-up who will teach him. So anyways, with that being said, let's welcome Sarah to the show. What's going on, Sarah?
Hi, Dave.
Welcome back. How have you been?
Good. Everything's good.
How many times have you been on the show so far? Is this your second or is this your third?
It's my third time.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I was
So for
this morning. I started this time last year, like just getting started. So
okay, so for those who don't know who you are, give us that nutshell snapshot of where were you a year ago?
okay, so a year ago, honestly, I had a vacation planned in July that I didn't have money for. Saw these people on TikTok making money. Thought I might make an extra $500 if I do this. That is honestly was my goal. I mean, I never I never dreamed it would go as big as it is. And that's this morning getting ready for this. I was just thinking, I actually hadn't even started making content yet. It's just so crazy how far I've come in a year just because of that simple decision I made to take a little course. I never dreamed it would be this big for me.
This big.
So
Wow. So
it's
tell
big.
us, what does that mean? I mean, what has happened over the last year that is big for you? Because I actually, you know what? Your last time I talked to you, I'm sure you've done much more since then. So give us a little snapshot and earnings disclaimer. What she's about to say isn't average or isn't what you should expect. You should expect to get out really whatever you put in. And I'm not going to do the old, well, she's not typical and you shouldn't be either, because the truth is, Sarah isn't typical. And I think anybody who comes in and actually even finishes the challenge isn't typical, because I get to see the behind the scenes of a lot of statistics of people who are just statistics. I never actually know who they are because they're just buying and then they don't even start or finish things. So that was my earnings disclaimer. So tell us, what this big actually means. How is your life different?
Well, first of all, I never went into it wanting to quit my job. I really liked my job. I'm a PTA. My job has meaning. Everything's good there, as far as that goes. But big for me is that I've almost doubled my income doing affiliate marketing as a side hustle. And so, I see other people, like you just said with your earnings disclaimer. I honestly do this completely as a side hustle. I have a full-time job. My husband owns his own business and he's an umpire and a referee. One of my kids does travel. I mean, I don't have time. Like, this is totally 1 to 2 hours a day for me.
Mm.
Sometimes at the tops. Honestly, I don't have a lot of time. And I've still nearly doubled, or I have doubled my income as a full-time healthcare worker. That's big for me. Um,
So
in the
you've
past,
made you've just so I'm clear about what that means, you've kind of taken the same amount that you're making as a healthcare worker and you're making that same amount in your online business. Is that what you mean? Or you're
I've
making twice as much in
I've
your
made
online business?
twice as
Oh,
much.
okay.
It's
You're not making the same amount, you're
no,
making twice as much in your online business as
it's
you are.
big,
Okay.
Dave. It's big.
I really didn't, like, seriously, I'm trying to understand, and I want to make sure that we're clear for everybody else who's watching, because, you know, there's another, you got to be careful out there on the internet, because the gurus and the goblins say they did $1 million or $2 million in sales, and you don't know what their ad costs are, you don't know
Right.
what their overhead costs are. And so somebody says, oh, I did $1 million in sale. Well, there's a big difference between gross and net. And anyways, I'll even ask you that question. What sort of expenses do you have on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, I guess, if we want to just look at it from that standpoint, so we can understand how much of that income is actually you're putting in your pocket versus is going back out into advertising or whatever like that. Are you doing 100% organic, or, I'm not talking about taxes. So everybody, just assuming that you're paying taxes, what are your expenses on an ongoing basis?
Yeah, we for sure pay taxes, unfortunately. I'm 100% organic. I have not done paid ads. Now I'm not saying that's not something I want to look into when I go bigger, when I'm able to quit my full-time job and do this full time. Also, I obviously I did the blueprints, which was just a massive value to me. And it's so hard when people ask, yeah, but did you buy the upsell? I'm like, yeah. And the return on investment is amazing. Like, I, anyways, I bought the blueprints and it was great. And then I have Aweber and ClickFunnels. And those are my monthly business expenses.
Mm.
I mean, I really, it's so obviously I've paid some out, but nothing like I don't pay $100 in ads every week or anything like that. All of my content is organic.
Yeah, I mean, most people who are probably earning what you're earning are, if they're running ads, it's certainly taking more than $100 a week. It's probably
I have
taken in
no
the
idea.
thousands, but yeah, you have no idea because you're not even dipping your toe there yet,
I'm not
let
there yet.
alone. And you don't need to be. And that's one of the things that I actually want to ask you is, how do you decide where you put your time? Because what I hear a lot, okay, what I hear a lot is somebody will have a video that goes viral. It's almost a gift and a curse, because now all of a sudden they've got tons of messages and comments and things that they're responding to. And now it's like, where do I go from here? Everything was simple and clear just a day or two ago when I was just creating content, but now I've got actual people that are responding, whether I'm growing my accounts, growing my list, whatever. The bottom line is, now I have people who are noticing me and responding. So now what do I do on a daily basis with my time? Do I continue to create content and email my list at least one email a day? Or do I respond to all these DMs? Do I try to do both? Can you clarify that for us? What does that look like for you?
Yes, well, that's it's so funny that you say that, because I have an Instagram and a Facebook that I'm not consistent with at all. But when I have I'll post a video maybe on Instagram, let's say, and it'll go viral and I'll get all these DMs and I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute. I don't have time for that right now." So most of my content is through TikTok. Obviously, that's where I get most of my organic traffic from. Um and I just honestly, it's like stolen moments is when I find time to work. I am an early bird. I get up early and I probably do about 20 minutes to my business. And then sometimes during the work
What does
day,
that look like? Like, is that like responding to messages, or are you creating content right off in the morning?
well, I've had a few TikToks go viral of me in my robe without my hair done. I mean, it's rough, but people respond to reality, I think, and that is
Right,
my.
right. I
I'm
think
just
that's almost a better word than authenticity, is reality, because it's like there is, I think the funniest kind of memes, or like, little pieces of content that go around, are the Instagram versus reality stuff. And everybody can relate to that. Like, people just know when they're looking at reality and when they're not, you
right.
know what I mean? When they're looking at okay, that's a perfect picture for Instagram. And we're all like, we know the difference though, don't we?
I mean, it's obvious if you've watched any of my TikToks, and sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm even about to hit post, and then I do, and there's like 6,000 views, and I'm like, okay, well, people like
Right.
that for some reason. But I
Right.
I tell people, or there's a few people that I know that have started to do this or interested in it. My best tip is to just be yourself and be honest about it. You know, and like you said, with the guarantee on what I've made, honestly, it's just I've just learned what to do and I'm doing it. You can't guarantee that for anybody else. There's people who have started after me who are blowing my results out of the water, and some aren't. But
Yeah.
I just take solo moments. Like yesterday, I did 3 TikToks while I was trying to get sun on my kid's trampoline. I was laying on the trampoline and creating content because it was just coming to me.
Yeah.
Stolen moments. That's when I have time.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, there's a need to think, and I was having a conversation with Papa Don last week, and he said that, he was talking about the fact that you need to think, and I could relate to that. Entrepreneurs, creators, we need to think. If you ever think that you're going to be creative, but you're not creating space for those moments to come. And then when they do come, those ideas to come, if you just immediately shut them down and say, "Oh, that's stupid." Imagine saying that to you as a little person, as a little child. I mean, really, let's take off the tough guy suit for a second and just really imagine, and I'm doing that right now with my 16-year-old son that I just put a picture up. I mean, I'm being reminded of how delicate my inner child is. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna say let's all hold hands and sing kumbaya, but what I am saying is that when an idea comes up, if we just are like, "Oh, that's stupid, I'm not going to do it," of course we're going to stop bringing our creative mind is going to stop bringing ideas to the table. But I love what you said. I was laying on the trampoline, I was getting sun. I was doing some self-care stuff, and an idea, and I took some moment for me to think and just clear my head. Sometimes think means clear my head. And guess what? When you did that, ideas came in, and when they came, you ran with them instead of pushing them down and saying, "That's a stupid idea, Sarah." And I love that. I just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah. Also, something I saw yesterday, we were on a golf cart ride and we went to a gas station, and it said, the sign at the gas station said, "Your dreams only work hard if you do," at Ideal Market. And I was like, well, nobody's dreaming of working at a gas station. But the first part of that is so true. Like, I had a dream that I want to take my family on vacations. I just don't want to struggle through life. And so I did something about it. Like, you can only achieve those things with some action behind it. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying this is for everybody, and I'm not saying everybody's going to make enough to do that. But if you have a dream, if you have a goal, but you're not doing anything to achieve it, then you can't really have any complaints with that. Like, you've got to have action behind your desires. And that's
Yeah.
kind of what keeps pushing me,
Mm.
because
Well,
I've never wanted to work from home, but the reality of it in my mind is almost like it's here. It's right here.
you mean like you're like not only do you have the opportunity and it's about season or not season it, but also society as a whole is kind of seems to be moving towards that in a way, right?
Right. Well, I mean, I just see it as an opportunity for me that I
Okay,
never thought there before. Um,
understood.
it was just never, like I said at the beginning, when I first started doing this, I never dreamed I'd be thinking about quitting my job ever.
Did
And now
you
it's
ever have any experience doing any other sort of businesses or work from home anything? No, okay. So
no.
that's why it's really a big kind of like you never imagined doing that. That's interesting. There seems to be a lot of people like that in our community who this is legitimately their first time be even starting a business, having a business, and that's really ultimately what we're doing here. We're starting a business. I mean, which we throw around so loosely, as if it's just a hobby. Hey, I started collecting watches. I started trading baseball cards. I started a business. Um, how do you how although you have little time, do you treat your business like a business at home? How do you communicate that to your family? How do you set certain boundaries so you ensure that you do have that time if one day your kids are all over you or something? How do you treat your business like a business there at home?
Well, luckily, my husband is very supportive. And sometimes it's even hey, I need 15 minutes. I need 15 minutes in this room quiet by myself to do this. It's funny, to my daughter, she does travel softball. And because I'm on TikTok, they think it's amazing that I have as many followers as I do. And so sometimes between games, I'll be off by myself working on my business. And they're like, "Can we be in your TikTok?" Like,
Aw,
they think
that's
it's
sweet.
amazing. They think it's so cool. Oh, whoops, sorry. But I
That's
have
really
to make
sweet.
it a priority to step away, even like I said, if it's just for 15 minutes, to make time. Because if
Mm,
not, every other parent that's listening to me is going to understand your time can just be consumed by anything. And sometimes
mm,
I even catch myself scrolling through TikTok instead of working. I'm
mm.
constantly looking at ideas, or just stuff I can pull from, because I want to,
Yeah.
well, I feel like I do relate to most other people, but I want to communicate to them that if I can do this, they can too. I never dreamed this would be my reality, but it is.
Mm.
And I, like you just said, I knew nothing. I had nothing, and I just took this course and went for it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, to think that, somebody from where in the Midwest are you from?
I'm from Kentucky.
Kentucky. Yeah, I remember you telling me when I first talked to you about sort of describing your town and your upbringing a little bit and how, far out there this specifically was in
Definitely.
terms of all of your friends, family, people you grew up with and stuff. Has that has that evolved at all? Do people still not know what you're doing? Do they think they know? How do you handle those conversations, those comments, those questions?
Well, when people first started noticing that I was doing it, there would be like "Hey, I saw your TikTok. Those were pretty funny." Like that kind of thing. Like, I
Mm.
see you out there, but maybe you're kind of
Kinda
crazy.
like kinda like, but almost a little shaming too, and passive aggressive a little bit too, right?
A little bit. But at
Yeah.
that I I don't I don't like to say I brag. I hadn't told anybody how much money I'd made. So at the time, maybe I'd made like, over a certain amount. And I'm like, yeah, they're pretty funny. It's pretty awesome. So, but now people are like, oh, and Sarah, you get a minute. I need you to tell me what you're doing to make that money. And I'm like, okay. I mean,
Right,
because now they see that it's legit. I wouldn't be spending this much time on it
right.
if it wasn't something. But something I don't do, and I'll never forget because Matt said this in the training. If you're not a person, like if you see something come up that you don't understand, or that you're just like, I don't get this. If you're a person who would rather have somebody tell you how to do it and do it for you, like you might struggle with this. You've got to have in your mind, I'm going to learn how to do that because I want to know how to do it. You
Mm,
know, you
mm,
you've got to have that desire not to have somebody do it for you. You've got to have the desire to want to do it for yourself. And so
mm.
sometimes people ask me how I'm doing it. I'm like, hey, listen, this is the course I took. It's $7. It's going to teach you all about it. And if you're interested, go for it. I don't try to sit there and explain every step I took to them because they've got to have that desire and motivation to do it themselves. It's not something
Yeah,
I can do.
right. Wow. And I wonder if you'll get to the point, or if you already feel like this, because I certainly do. Is I really like to prioritize my time for the people that I feel like deserve it nowadays. And what I've realized is that most people, oftentimes even my friends, when they're in a tight situation, when it's difficult for a person not to be selfish. It's difficult for a person not to just think about themselves. And so it's hard for a friend, or sometimes, for not to see us as like, I don't know, as like a, almost like a source of information, or like sort of let me not, now I don't have to do the work because they did, or something. And maybe at one time, like you described, they sort of laughed at you, or were, and now they want to come back. And it's hard sometimes for me to, the nice part of Dave says, hey man, I don't know, maybe you got blessed or something. Give back what you can. People are struggling. And there's another part of me that says, fuck, I don't have time for this guy right now. He's what the hell's values he bringing to my life in the last 5 years or 10? You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, I mean, people that kind of pop up, it's amazing when you become successful. Something weird in this world. I mean, people treat you differently. They treat you differently, and you have to protect your time, and you have to protect your reputation, because people will also, now all of a sudden, they want to get into business with you and all this, and you got to protect your reputation. It's a whole, you go from, and it's fun because you got options now. I'm not going to say it's overwhelming. You got choices now. You're the one with the, and there's a lot of pride that comes along. I saw a comment just a minute ago, from somebody, Francis, that said, I remember when she started, I'm ashamed I haven't. And
Um,
what I realized, and we, of course,
I'm not
hey,
convinced. I need to see them. Sorry,
huh?
go ahead. Go
You're not
ahead.
what? Oh, you're
I'm
not
not.
seeing the comments.
Whoops.
I don't know why, but um, I try not to pay attention to all of them, but that one struck me. And here's the thing: is that you know no, shaming yourself or shaming others is never going to get you, anywhere. In this, one thing that I noticed about, I've been watching the NBA playoffs a lot lately. And one thing that I noticed is each and every play, even when a player totally screws up, the coach's job is to not do this. Oh, Jesus. You know, like everybody in the crowd's doing. Okay.
Right.
All the other assholes and idiots in the world,
Every-
that's what they do.
right.
Everybody does that. When you screw up, now when you do something good, they go, yay, you're my favorite person. Yay. But when you screw up, they go, oh. I'm telling you, you could do the whole, but relate this to life. So I'm using this as an analogy, folks. And I keep looking at these coaches, and you know what? When their players screw up, they go, stay in the game, stay in the game, stay focused. Right. You know, those are the kind of people that I'm trying to be around. So Francis, you may be feeling shame, but hey, let me tell you something. Stay in the game, right? I mean, stay in the game. There's no shame about it. And if people make you feel shame, if people make you feel badly about yourself, you know what? I'm taking it way back to just real simple humanity. This is like just real simple human principles. That's how I determine whether I keep people in my life these days. If you're like the rest of the peanut gallery and you're only gonna, when I'm helping you, but you're gonna, when I don't do something that you like.
So true.
I need me a coach, and I need me teammates that even when I screw up, because this road's hard, this road of success and this road of entrepreneurship, but I need some people that when I screw up, they go, stay in the game.
Right. Look what you've already done. Look what you've already done. Like for Francis, you bought the course, so you already know that you think you can do it. Just keep going. You know, nobody's going to shame you. Nobody in this community, anyways. I will say that for Legendary, the community support is amazing.
I mean, you know what? And there's people even in this community that are just new, and we got to work with them to just remind them, here's how we talk to our teammates, and here's how we talk to ourselves. Because, I mean, it's just a big deal. It's a big deal. The strategies and all this kind of stuff that we teach in the course, the mechanical aspects of this are important. But this road of life and business is difficult, and you need people in your corner, and I need people in my corner that when I screw up, when it like you described your husband, your biggest supporter, like, right? It's like, stay in the game, Sarah. You got this, right?
Definitely.
And what would you say to people who maybe are having a hard time getting their spouse to support them? Would you say just make the money and you'll win them right over, or other advice that you have?
That's hard for me to relate to because Jay has been supportive the whole time. But I just there's so many people who have done it. It's proven, you know, if you do the work, if you do the time, you can be successful. You can. And I have people that I know now who are doing this. And when they get discouraged, I'm just like, just stick with it. Just stick with it. It's proven. Just do not give up. Like giving up is not going to help you reach that goal for sure. And that same friend, one of them I talk about, she started because of me. And the other day she was like, Sarah, how did you do this? You jumped into this and you didn't have anybody. Like you didn't know anybody that had done this. You had nobody you could speak to and say, yes, I did this and it worked for me. And I was like, no, but I don't know these people, but I see these people. Like, because when I first got started, and I will tell you that I was all in. You know, when I walked, I listened to Wake Up Legendary every single day. It was, you know, in the afternoons, but still. And just drawing from people in this community helped me build my confidence in what I could do. Because you've got to have that confidence in yourself. Because if you're going out there and all you're seeing is no results because you've done it 2 weeks, you just got to keep going. You know, it's going to take more than 2 weeks. Here I am. I know it might be easy for people to say, oh, she's just been doing it a year. But I've had to grow a lot in that year to get here. You know, it's about growth and continued dedication to what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And it really takes the mental toughness and the mental strength is really what this is all about. I mean, I would love for it to be just a mechanical thing. Like, I would love for it to just, it would be like, is all you got to do is just follow steps 1 through 10 and just set this up and then press that final button. And but it's all about the mental toughness and each moment, whether you're recording a video or whether you're getting ready to go through a piece of training, there's something that you say to yourself, and there's an inner soundtrack that plays. What is some common things that you say to yourself that are the opposite of limiting beliefs, like, oh, I can, or that, nobody's going to care to hear what I have to say? What do you say to yourself instead of those things in those moments where you're about to record or whatever, and you might be feeling a little bit insecure? Um, and really, I mean, if they're F it, or if they're, whatever it is, what do you say to yourself to get yourself in that mindset to do it versus to not do it?
The thing that I just think you can't take yourself too seriously about it. Like, it's funny. I just recorded a TikTok before I got on here, and I pushed post before I like edited the caption or anything. And I was like, crap. And then I thought, oh, well, I mean, it's out there. Just don't take it too serious. You just got to give yourself some grace. This is a learning experience. And something I say often is, every affiliate marketer, everybody who's done this, even you, Dave, because you talk about it, you all started with no idea of what you were doing. It's not something that, or I know it's not something I was taught in school for sure.
Right.
Nobody, you can work from home and make this kind of money. They want you to go to work and work for somebody else. Um, so I just tell myself, I've got the training, I've got the knowledge. If I don't have the knowledge, I know where I can go find it. And just don't take it too seriously. Just be yourself, put yourself out there. It's working for you. It's working for other people.
Yeah.
You gotta have confidence in what you know. And
And
just like,
that's true. I saw in a like a Goodwill one time when my wife and I just had gotten together. So I was probably 24, 25 years old. And it said, it was a sign, and I bought it. I don't know where it is now. Maybe we must have thrown it away. I don't know, or maybe it's buried somewhere, but I'll never forget it. Don't take yourself too seriously, or else nobody else will. And God, that stuck with me for so many, until this day. It's one of the things that I remember the most. Um, and God, I live by that because it's so true. The guy who takes himself so seriously is such a, like, he's such a
just chill
DB,
out.
like, yeah, bro,
Yeah.
it's like, and it doesn't matter where you're at. Like, if you can't smile and just like laugh it off, and I don't know, it's really the secret to life. I feel like the people who can relax a little in, like, when I see somebody like in a real high pressure situation, like watching an athlete perform, like watching the NBA playoffs, and I see these guys and girls in the WNBA, and they're in these moments of complete and total, just, for a lot of people, thinking about being in that moment would be so scary, but man, they're laughing and they're having fun because because they know. I mean, if you really thought about it, and sure, you could totally freak yourself out, but it's like, hey, at the end of the day, you know, it's, what I do is really that not that consequential. This one video or this one email that I'm about to send is not going to shift humanity. I'm not gonna offend my entire following, or so. I might polarize them and get more people to love me and more people to hate me, and that might be a good thing. Um,
Yeah. You misspell a word in a TikTok and it gets like 10,000 views. And you're like, oh, well, I don't know how to spell, but people really liked that. So,
yeah.
something else, and this is more maybe for the women than for the men. I saw a quote one time that said, "Stop hating your body. Nobody else does." Because like so many times I do a
Oh,
TikTok, like, oh man, like my shoulders look big or my nose looks huge or whatever. But
mm,
really, number one, nobody else is probably thinking that. Number two, if they do, forget them. Like,
I
who
mean,
cares? Like, you've just
oh
got to
God.
be who you are and put it out there.
I
Because
know.
that's a
I
big
mean,
hang up. People ask, do I have to make videos? Which you don't, but
right.
still.
Right. I mean, this is totally not a conversation I really want to like go down the rabbit hole on because it could
It
just
could
go
just,
in so many different directions. But one thing I will say is I know like obviously I've been with my wife for 14 years and I mean, I've heard all of the things that a woman says and I chase her around the house now more than I ever have in my life. I mean, and I'm just overwhelmed by everything about her beauty and body and everything. And she's had a couple of kids and I'm 38, she's 40. We neither of us look the way that we did when we met each other. We, we're not trying that hard right now, but we'll get back there. Actually, she's getting ready to go to Pilates here in 10 minutes, so I actually got a jet. But uh, man, it's amazing how critical we are of ourselves, and I have no idea what you experience as a woman and going through everything that you go through. um I know how critical I can be on myself. I mean,
Mhm.
so I can imagine if it's equal or greater to that, then it can be painful. And what do you do? I mean, do you just kind of kind of close your eyes sometimes like you were talking about, and then you just are blown away by the feedback and that's made you kind of, but do you not care anymore? Did you not care? I mean, what would you say to the ladies and the guys who are hung up on body image and who really think that who really have a real legitimate fear of rejection, and quite frankly, the world can be mean anyways. So, what would you say to those people who are maybe somewhat paralyzed by that fear?
Well, it kind of goes back to what I said in the beginning, the reality of it. Because most moms who are my age, that like your wife, had two kids, time is, we don't have time to go to the gym for an hour every day. That's
Right.
reality. I'm just a real mom. I don't have,
Yeah.
uh, I don't have a beach body. I don't walk around in a perfectly clean house. I don't, I'm not always well manicured. But I think people respond better to that realness. I just,
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like people like to see reality. That's just me.
Yeah.
Like,
I do
because to
too.
me, who gets on here and is, 5'10" and weighs 100 pounds and is perfect, I'm like, well, good for them. But that's not me. So I'm not going to be able to do that. Like,
Yeah.
here I am. I'm just me, two kids, crazy busy, making this TikTok in the 5 minutes I have to do this, telling you that you can do this too. And
Yeah.
to me, that resonates more with me. That shows other people in my situation, who, if she can do it, so can I. Because that's, none of us are perfect. And so the perception of perfect shouldn't even be out there.
Yeah.
So it's just not real.
Yeah, perfection is it's a complete fallacy. It's a
Yeah.
fantasy. But we love to chase it and we love to fantasize about it and we love to romanticize it and just oh that per it the, oh god, it's just not perfect. I can imagine with I'm gonna redo it, and then redo it 100 times and you're like, oh my god, this business is
Still,
so hard. You're right. And it's
that's
like,
why I
no,
just
it's
do it one
not.
time. It's like, go, go, go. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, I take so much pride in my one takes these days. You know, and I think that's one of the real powers of going live. Like when you go live, you will get comfortable on camera with all your,
That's true.
you know, oohs and ahs and ums and or whatever you do. And because you're not gonna stop the live every time, you better not. And you'll just realize it's not that big of a deal. Nobody cares. I
No,
mean, if you're
nobody.
editing or redoing something, it should never be, because you had a human, you said a human word like a ooh or a, you know, it should, you can, the other thing is a lot of times with content, you can edit it. And nowadays with the tools, you can kind of edit it down and stuff like that. But I can imagine that you rarely allow yourself to have multiple takes just simply because of the time that you give yourself.
No, I don't. It's rare that I do multiple takes. I mean, even sometimes, like when you're making a long video, I'm like, shoot, if I erase that, I'm not going to remember what I said. Like, I can't.
Right.
I mean, so if I say, or if I look in the distance, that's just me being me. Like,
Look in
this,
the
this,
distance. I'm
this,
always looking in the distance.
yeah, like probably just kick the dog outside. And I'm like, shoot, I got to go out there and take care of that after I make this video.
Right,
But
but that's fine. I mean, that you're not looking right at the camera. Like, that's
yeah,
so natural and normal. And
yeah, it's not
yeah,
a recording, it's just real life. You just roll with it.
yeah. It's a skill, you know, you do have to do it. I don't want everybody to think that the way we're describing this is like you either got it or you don't. No, you got to do it sometimes, and to where it's not so awkward and brand new.
You feel comfortable.
And yeah, exactly. Just like anything, when you first do it, it's weird and you're bad at it. And then practice, practice, practice never makes perfect, but right? That's the lie.
Yeah, well, and then you've got to think about who you're marketing to, and you learn that in the challenge. So I'm not marketing to people who already have perfect lives. Like I'm marketing to the parents and the moms who are just tired and busy. And if you can't relate to me being tired and busy, then not that I don't want you to follow me. I don't mean that, but my content might not be for you. You know, it might not be what you're looking for, and that's okay. Um, if
Mm.
you're looking for perfection or for something else, go somewhere else because this is just me. You know, you're just going to
Yeah.
get me all.
And
And
I
I think,
find that, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Well, I just
No.
think you've got to be confident in who you are and what you're doing and not worry so much about the people who aren't doing that and worry about the people wwho are.
Well,
You
I
got,
hear what I just heard from you is clarity. Clarity about who you're talking to and clarity about your message,
hmm
which is so important. You're very clear you're not talking to people at the country club. You're
No, no,
talking to everyday people who are working 9 to 5s, who are essential or have just been deemed non-essential, sitting around wondering how they're gonna pay for that vacation that they booked during the summer,
it's
right?
nuts. Yeah, like I really want some crab legs while I'm at the beach, but if I don't get some money, I'm not going to have them.
Yeah.
That's where I was.
Well, hey, listen, congrats on your incredible journey. And yes, we'd love to have you, as Matt asked you, sometime in the near future at a mastermind, or not. I love having you a part of our community here, and just keep rocking and doing your thing. And thanks for, coming on here and sharing for the third time.
Thanks for having me. I always enjoy it.
All right, Sarah, I'll talk to you later. All right.
Yeah.
See ya. All right, my friends, have a fantastic Monday. If you want a text message, just quickly text the words WUL to 29685. Oh, excuse me, to 813-296-8553, and get a little text message reminder when we go live each and every weekday. I don't think we've ever missed a weekday, rain, shine, sleet, snow, holidays or not. If it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we go live with a show at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And, it's just, there's a lot of value. And one of the things that I heard Sarah say was, when I first started, I listened to this every day, and it really helped. And, success leaves clues. What are you listening to? Who are you listening to? With that half hour that you have when you're walking the dog, or maybe that you need to just go clear your head, what are you listening to? Sometimes if we want to replace the soundtrack that's been playing, full of limiting beliefs and all those I can'ts and I shouldn'ts and whatever, we got to put a new soundtrack, play a new soundtrack, and get that brain on a different, on a different path. Sometimes we need to rewire things and just be listening to different people, in total immersion. That's one of the things that I agree with Tony Robbins about, is that if you want to really have a big change, totally immerse yourself in the world. And you get to do that. You have an opportunity to totally immerse yourself in this world if you want to learn it, know it, and be able to win at this game. And so we'll see you tomorrow. And we'll see those of you who are coming to the mastermind coming up at the end of the week in Orlando. All right, get on out of here. Be legendary. Peace.